Hello, and welcome to the AB Relationships Podcast. Your hosts are Angela Lazariki, psychologist and psychotherapist, and Boris Hertzberg, psychoanalytic therapist and couples consultant. We talk about relationships and discuss some ways in which we can help each other in relating better. It is a space for sharing, discussing, and brainstorming common relationship difficulties, as well as real-life issues presented by our guests. Please note, this is not therapy, nor is it a substitute for therapy. Enjoy, as we are about to begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AB Relationships Podcast. And hello, Angela.
Hello, Boris, and hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode.
Yes, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Boris.
Thank you. So the topic we decided that we will be talking today is where we are taking energy from. What helps us get live resources, energy to do things, what takes our energy away. So I hope this topic will be interesting to our listeners. And I'm sure it's also interesting to us to discuss how this dynamic works.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking this is a very, very timely topic, Boris, because of the time of the year that we're currently in. And usually a lot of people are drained of energy for various reasons. So it's something that would be useful to talk about and kind of focus on, okay, now that I'm drained of energy, or when I'm drained of energy, where can I turn to?
Yes, let's just indicate what time of the year it is for the people who will be listening to us later on. We are turning the year, it's the end of the year. So yeah, the subject seems timely. It's interesting how our energy can be synchronized with different periods. And that when something ends, be that something, on the global scale, like a year, or be that on a personal scale, some event which is relevant for us, or some period relevant for us, how our energy can be synchronized with endings, that we might feel that we have less energy. And as you said, we could be drained at the end of periods.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's often very interesting to pay attention to those things. A lot of the times unless it's the time of the year that we are in now, which is, you can't really ignore it, right? It's the end of one year, the beginning of a new one. But if it's more of a personal nature, many times we tend to kind of minimize it and don't realize the impact that it might have. And I'm also referring to kind of like anniversaries that might be important to us as people, anniversaries, the death of a loved one, or of a major surgery, or of divorce, or whatever it is, like milestones in our lives.
Let me stress it. It's very important, and I think that not all of our listeners may be aware of it, that when we mark some anniversary of some events, especially some sad events, we might be feeling down, even though we don't, nothing happens that specifically brings us down. But this anniversary, this synchronicity with this sad event brings memories, and it influences our inner state. So it might be, our message to the listeners that you can expect to be prepared. Then there is an anniversary of some sad event that you might be feeling down and might be drained of energy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's very interesting when we might not be consciously aware of the anniversary, and it still has an effect on our emotions and our energy levels. I find that quite fascinating.
I think that we are cyclical creatures. Our day consists of cycles. We start the day, we wake up, we do something, we are at peak of our activity, and then we, go down. As the sun sets down, we also, go to bed. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot in our lives is being driven by cycles, whether we, are aware of it consciously or not.
Exactly. I totally agree. And so when we find ourselves at this point in that cycle, whether it's a daily cycle or an annual or whatever it is, where we are depleted, drained, lack inspiration, creativity, whatever it is, what can we do to give ourselves a boost, or what can we do in order to motivate ourselves? That sounds like a very relevant topic for today.
Okay. Let's go with it then, with this question. What can we do when we are feeling down and drained of energy? What are some things that can help us? I can begin. For me, it connects with what we've been talking already, that we need to be aware of our state, of our emotional state and of our physical state. Because if we don't acknowledge that we are drained and we do not have enough energy, we will be treating ourselves and our life as if business as usual. And we will be damaging our condition even more. So I think for me, the first step is actually acknowledge that my energy is down now and it's not business as usual.
Excellent. I completely agree with you. That would make perfect sense, but we often overlook how important it is to pay attention to these things, right? And to have these check-ins with ourselves. How am I feeling today? What is going on? I have a lot of clients who are keeping a journal, which is one way to go about it, but it's not necessary if that's not, it's not suitable for everyone, I guess, but kind of spending that time of checking in and seeing how we're doing, how we're feeling, and not having, as you said, that expectation to kind of always be functioning in the same level, right? Because we're not machines, we're just people, and there are going to be fluctuations, and that is okay.
Yeah, it could be a difficult task for some people to accept this fact that we are not machines because many of us expect from ourselves to act in a stable way and to give our best at all times. And also there is a lot in working culture, in office culture, corporate culture that drives people to success, but at the same time it overlooks people's emotional state and their peace of mind.
Exactly. Spot on. And I think it really connects with our, another episode that we have done talking about self-kindness, right? I think those two are very, very much linked. But one of the thoughts that I had when hearing the topic that we want to discuss today is I actually went big in the sense like the bigger picture. Some of the first things that I thought about is kind of like a bigger motivation for life, if you like, or how can we keep ourselves motivated? How can we keep ourselves inspired in a bit of a bigger picture, if you like? At least I take it as a bit of a bigger picture. It doesn't have to be. But what came to mind is something that is a big part of the work that I do, which is talking about values, like our values as people, meaning what is it that we want to embody as people? What kind of people do we want to be in our daily lives? And that helps, once we're a bit more clear in that can help give us a general direction of where do I want to go? So my values as a person can sort of then work as a compass towards the goals that I'm going to put for myself. Because it immediately tells me what is important to me, and therefore which direction do I want to take in my life. And it can be like in all aspects of our lives, in our relationships, in my workplace. So in having that as a general direction and as a compass, this is the sort of person that I want to be. This is what I want to stand for in my relationships, for example. This is what I want to stand for in the workplace. Then how do I help myself do that? And how do I, collect the resources that I need in order to keep me on track? So, because when I am working towards my values, right, and moving in that direction, being that type of a person, then I feel like that many times does encourage us to keep going. And it's something that gives us energy because we're going towards something that inspires us.
Okay. Very good point.
That was a very long-winded way of saying it, but yeah, that's the first thought that I had.
No, it's a very beautifully connected values and the levels of energy. That when we have something that inspires us, it gives us energy. I'm thinking about the Sistine Chapel or some medieval paintings and works of art where people weren't forced to create something beautiful, and they just kept them going. It's something something that gave them energy. So when we are involved in doing beautiful things and doing inspiring things and doing something that we enjoy, because I do believe that what we enjoy connects with our values. It's our way to establish a deep connection with ourselves through enjoyment. So it definitely helps us to both to replenish energy and to keep energy levels high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we're kind of going back to the first point that you made, the necessity of kind of being able to observe what it is that gives us energy and what it is that depletes us of energy, right? So kind of like noticing after each activity or encounter with people as well, what is it? How do we feel afterwards?
Oh, that's very good. I think it's something that we could even suggest directly to our listeners, just to make 2 lists. What or who drains your energy and makes you sad, or makes you feel negative emotions or aftertaste, and what makes you feel good, what gives you energy, so that you are able to consciously either meet these people or do these activities or bring these events in your life or go to these places, because it's very important to know what gives you resources.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's so much to be said about having that clarity. I love that you said to make those lists and I would always kind of urge my clients to write them down so that you have a visual, a very tangible list in front of you, right? Whether it's on paper or on someone's phone or something, that you have it written down. So then there's more clarity. And as you said, when I find myself with these people or in these situations, what can I do after for self-care? What can I do before as a way of kind of having some resources handy? It doesn't always mean that I will be able to avoid them, obviously, because such is life. But how can I help myself? Or how can I combine them with activities or people on the other list of things that give me energy?
Yeah, like two poles, plus and minus, and our task in life is to connect them, not to completely drive away one pole, because it's impossible. We cannot rid ourselves of all negativity, but we can definitely learn how to intensify the positive side and the positive things in our lives, and learn how to connect these 2 poles and how to make them coexist, because that's basically the human nature. We have both our shadow side, as Jung was saying, and we have our inner self, through which we enjoy things and experience things in a positive way, and which gives us an inner resource. Yeah, so the whole wisdom is to know how to combine these things.
Exactly. I love the word wisdom. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And how, I mean, as well, and kind of like making it a practice for ourselves, which it is a practice, little by little by little, to kind of have that level of self-observation, that level of acceptance as well. Some things are going to drain my energy, and some days my energy levels are going to be lower than others. So I think that acceptance also comes into play a lot of the time. We can also start kind of modeling it for others as well, people close to us, our partners, our friends, our children, very importantly, having that outlook and that approach to life, which, as you said, spot on, is many times contrary to what we find out there, especially in the workplace.
It's interesting that you are bringing in other people, because exactly at the same time I'm thinking about that there can be 2 types of energy. The energy for ourselves, to which we need at some level to maintain our lives. And then we need some energy for others. When we are parents, or we naturally need energy for our family, people close to us, to our colleagues. So sometimes people, I think, make this mistake of giving too much energy to others. Either they were raised this way, that with this indoctrination that they have to give all they have, and they don't deserve to keep some good things for them, or they might feel guilty and thus thinking that they are indebted to other people and have to give. So it's also very important, I think, for people to make this distinction, to know how much energy you need. And at some periods in life, we need more energy. For example, when we are young parents or we are moving to another country, obviously we have more challenges to deal with and we need more energy. But to distinguish it from the energy that we are giving to other people and what others expect from us. Because at times, either these expectations are excessive, so we are giving more than we have, and thus we feel worse, and or we just force ourselves to give more that we can give.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Absolutely. And I don't think any discussion or any topic is complete, especially in our field, without bringing, other people into the discussion, right? It's about us, but it's also about our connections and about our relationships. So absolutely.
Exactly. Yes, you pronounced the word. I wanted to make this dramatic proclamation, but you did it. Yes. Relationships. Exactly.
Exactly.
That's
and
what we are about.
Exactly what they're about, completely. And where you have relationships, you also have one of my favorite words, boundaries, right? So what you were saying about being mindful about the energy that we need to have, or how much energy we have for the people in our lives, and whether the expectations are too high, whether we were brought up a certain way, all very, very relevant, because none of us are immune to any of these things. And again, my mind goes back to boundaries, because it is something which we are always called to kind of, if not practice, because maybe we haven't learned to yet, to kind of keep in mind as much as possible. Like, where does my responsibility and the other person's begins, and vice versa.
I also think that relationships can be a very good source for energy.
Mm-hmm.
If these are healthy relationships, as you said, if they have healthy bonds, we are able to get a lot of energy out of them. And again, vice versa, unfortunately, when the relationships are not successful, we give energy. Energy is taking from us. So it's also very important to, how would I word it, to choose who we build relationships with, what kind of relationships we build with them. And if we choose it wisely and correctly, then we find ourselves getting a lot of energy from our surrounding. And also, when we give energy to such people, we do not feel drained, because there is a reciprocal exchange of it.
Exactly. The dynamics work, basically, right? Exactly. Being mindful of what we put our energy into, right? Including relationships, how much, when, under what conditions, all these things. As much as we can possibly control it, obviously, because sadly we can't control everything, quite far from it most of the times. But to the degree that we can have some control, to actually have control that is in our best interests as much as possible.
Okay. I'm thinking if I have anything to add to that.
Because this is such an all-around, good statement.
Yes. Nope, I don't feel like I have anything to add for now. What about you?
No, I'm realizing that we didn't focus on the practicals as much as one would think when we're talking about energy and what gives us energy. But I think I kind of like that, because there are a lot of practical tips out there. And I think we focused more on the foundations, what goes a little deeper.
Yes, that's what I personally like to do the most, because I believe that analysis helps both keep the freedom for everyone to think and to understand what they deem important, and also it doesn't limit people into doing something. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying this approach.
Good. I like that. I like what you said about not limiting people and what their options are, because many times when things are really spelled out, it's very difficult to kind of deviate. Like, it's good it's said that, oh, it is good to do A, and so I should kind of do this A, whatever it is, whether it suits me or not, whether it suits my routine or not, or my lifestyle. And that can be limiting, as you said.
It's interesting. What could give people more energy? Is it a direct advice, or is it just an analytic approach where they can take something for them by themselves? And I think it also depends both on different people and on different periods in life. Because sometimes we need this direct approach and we need someone to come to us and to tell us what to do and to support us directly. And sometimes we just need that feel that we need to be understood and listened to, and we don't want to get any direct help or direct advice. We want to decide by ourselves. So I think that it's also important to understand what we need at different times. And
exactly.
What would give us energy at this specific time or period in life.
Exactly. I totally agree. This time I don't have anything to add. It's exactly what you just said. I like we're very synchronized today. We kind of
course.
Like yeah.
Keeping the energy rolling.
Yes, exactly. We're on it.
Yeah. Excellent. So I think it could be a good ending point for our episode today.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, I'm getting a lot more ideas now. With every episode, whether we have a guest or not, I'm just getting more and more ideas about possible future topics. Like now I'm also thinking, as you probably have guessed, quite a few episodes on boundaries.
Yes,
because
okay.
It's my favorite topic. But, also boundaries in the workplace, boundaries in relationships, a lot of ideas.
So it gives you energy, our episodes.
Yes, it really does. See, because it's about doing something that motivates us, right? It's something creative. It's something fun. So yes, it does.
Yes, totally agree. I also hope that it gives energy to our listeners, and at least this episode is giving you energy for the new year. And if you are listening us, and the inspiration. And if you are listening us after, still it gave you energy. Okay, so we are ready to part now, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Thank you for this beautiful discussion, and thank you for coming up with the topic, Boris, as well.
Yes, also Angela, thank you too, and thank you to our listeners, and see you next time in our next episode.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
You were listening to the AB Relationships podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends and subscribe to be notified of the new episodes. If you would like to become our next guest, please leave your details in the form in the description. If you have any questions or would like to talk to the hosts, please also refer to the description.